2017 Sustainability Board meeting.
Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Thanks for everybody for coming out. So at this time, I'll open the floor to anyone who has any comments they'd like to make to non-agenda items. Does anybody have any comments tonight? Very good. In case, then we'll go ahead and move on to the agenda. We will discuss, take action on becoming a tree city.
Yeah, let me talk on that a little bit. I proposed that, or brought it up on the agenda, and after talking to the beautification, some people on the beautification board, I guess they had visited this in the past, and they kind of determined that it wasn't really worthwhile to go through all the requirements to be a tree city. But I do think that we should move in the direction of adding more trees to the city. If you've ever been down to Vero Beach and places like that, it's just unbelievable, the canopy they have down there. And
Each side especially.
yeah, and when you have a canopy of trees, you don't have weeds, because weeds don't grow in the shade, and it's just a win-win, because I mean, you get the coolness. I mean, there are some drawbacks to having trees, I guess, with leaves, but you know, that's the way I look at it. It's free mulch. Mm-hmm. And after talking with Nick and the community garden, I think
add some trees.
Yeah, as an alternative to pursuing the tree city idea, I think what we would like to do, or
So yeah, I'll take pending approval from Public Works and any usage around the community garden, we're going to plant more trees around that area, hopefully fruit-bearing trees. We did get a potential donation of 3 mango trees.
Nice.
Fall into that category.
Well, I'm actually talking about using the community
Oh,
garden
from that aspect, yeah.
as like a nursery.
Okay.
To, I mean, we're already growing stuff there anyway. We have the water there. If we can, you know, we can just start it off as kind of a pilot project and maybe get some involvement when the schools start again, to get them germinating acorns or whatever type of trees we'd like to grow.
From that facility, that was the main point behind creating that facility with Balance for Earth, partnering with the city and KBB to get that grant, reducing our cost of total vegetation from the city every year. And if we can do that, we can start with those Bismarcks that are right there, because the Bismarck palms are really expensive, and hopefully in the future we can reduce the invasives in the city by incentivizing planting native trees in their place. It'd be really great to give residents a viable option of what they can plant by having these trees available to them. We'll have to start small, but we'll get there. I think buttonwoods would be another good choice to have. Maybe oak, if you can do oaks, and then have them in there, and then at different events, just giving them away. Limbos are really easy to grow from sticks. But talking with John Stone and the B&Z, looking into the future for removing invasives is one thing. Also, promoting Florida-friendly landscapes is another. So we already have a yard of the month. We want to increase that activity among residents by trying to incentivize Florida-friendly yard of the month by giving them maybe free plants that we can grow from this facility. And also, I talked with a few different local businesses. Satellite Cinemas gave me 12 movie tickets, free movie tickets that I can give out. Publix might be on board with the $25 a month. Lowe's might be on board with a $25 a month, something like that. I got to iron out all the details of the program, and as soon as the beautification board meets again, which they're not meeting this upcoming board meeting due to a lack of quorum, But when they do, that'll be on the main focus. So, yeah, we're definitely, I mean, I'm on board 100% with you on that. As far as the rest of the board, I would hope that everybody would like the idea of planting more trees in the city and getting with Public Works and the beautification board to approve the locations. Shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah, I know we can, I'm pretty sure we can get the schools on board too and have them, you know, they have their little gardens there, but they can.
Just for volunteers to help plant them. Have like, you know, if we try to do once a month, I was going to try to work with Dylan to do like a podcast once a month or something. We can also focus on once a month plantings. Try to just have something going on to keep everybody engaged, because an engaged citizenry is an active citizenry, and they'll be more inclined to be engaged in the future as long as we have something readily available. So creating that schedule will, of course, follow me, which I'm happy about. So I like it. I like it a lot. And any other trees that you want to plant, I, of course, welcome everybody to bring them to that location. That's Shade House.
There's another purpose for trees, and that's to raise the wind field during storms.
Yeah, oaks supposedly protect houses from,
We had a live oak, and my wife insisted it come out. It's getting too big. So if it did come down, we were going to have major, you know, that makes the news when an oak comes and cuts a house in half. But we've got several smaller, and even things like the Florida privet will grow 20 feet tall. And, you know, it was those. I've got the front east side of our house completely obstructed.
A wall of privet.
It's not just privet, there's a mixture in there. I've got a couple pine, longleaf pine that are probably 25 feet tall.
We don't have enough of that in the city, in my opinion.
pine.
Yeah. Longleaf or slash, for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if they grow close to the ocean too.
These are 1,000 feet from the beach.
Really?
Yep.
There's your,
But they've got to be wind protected. In
Yeah.
other words, they kind of, you know, other stuff, and they're doing okay. One of them's doing better than the other. But the point is, there was a 4x8, 6x8 sheet of aluminum, somebody's patio cover or something, in '04, that was entangled in those trees and didn't get to the house.
Yeah, I know they'll uproot when you get high winds, but they don't break very easily,
Yeah.
so they do.
But the thing is, if you get the smaller, and that's the thing, most of the, in fact, I guess all of the native, true native oaks, you know, 20 feet, something like that, and that's not going to tear a house apart.
scrub oak, yeah.
Yeah, the different oaks. We've got a hickory in the back that's poking up above the roof line now, and it's not real happy with saw there, but again, 1,000 feet from the ocean. If they're protected,
Wind is probably the biggest enemy to the trees, because we planted a bunch at Delora. They're still back there in the back by the gym, kind of by the basketball courts. There's some live oaks. I think there's a couple of gumbo limbos. And they're finally coming along a little bit, but they just were struggling for a long time.
well, the green buttonwoods does well right on A1A.
If you can plant them in groupings, I think they kind of protect each other
Mhm.
from the wind and have.
Well, that's the point. If you can get a line near A1A and start to move back, you know, the stuff that's farther back, so you've lifted the wind field.
It's a good sell point. Yeah.
And yeah, the one thing about the Tree City that I wasn't thrilled with was you needed a tree board.
Yeah, I started looking at a lot of requirements.
Unless the,
That'd be cool. We could still do that. We could kind of pick and choose from that list, right? We don't have to do all of them.
Sure do. We can do it. Yeah, we
Well,
can
to
do
be
the whole thing.
designated a Tree City USA, you have to have ordinances and you have to have all these,
We can steal the good ideas or the low hanging.
Like being a LEED certified building and not being a LEED certified, it's just paperwork.
but the thing is we do have some stuff on the book about trees already.
Mhm.
It's just how far you have to go for them to be happy.
Don't quote me on it, but I think it's, you know, X number of trees per square foot, like one every 100 or something like that in the yard, so that we have a minimum of 4, I believe, as far as the ordinance goes, per home. Something like that.
Certain number in the front.
Yes, our number in the front. So we do have some ordinance right now, but,
Well, that would be something at leisure to look at and see how close, in other words, where are the holes? Because if you were serious and it was the only thing that was a problem, you'd say, fine, the beautification board comes to beautification and tree board.
well, you can do that. I'll look into it a little more further if you guys want, or we can just adopt what policies.
Well, we don't have to do it right away, I mean,
Okay.
rush at it, and you kind of work towards it and, you know, look at what do we have in ordinances, what do they want, how close are we? Probably isn't anything there that we'd say, gee whiz, we really don't want that.
Right. Thanks, John.
And I apologize, I think I skipped the public comment on this agenda item before we started. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say on the Tree City? All right, very good. Then we'll move to the next one, staff update.
Oh, okay. So for staff update, we've been very busy. We have our new interns, and we've been working diligently. We got the solar RFP is out. I appreciate the help that we've gotten as far as who to contact and to make sure we contacted the important parties.
How many has it gone to?
I think it's up to 60 now, almost.
60?
Yeah, 60.
Wow.
Yeah. And, you know, the variety of types of contracts that we're going to receive back is going to be really interesting, which is going to be fun to review. To streamline the review process, I'm probably going to try to rope in another one of the interns and create an Excel file, because she's got a really neat way of creating this point system. We're just going to transpose it to what we got. And we're going to create a point system based on the contract so that we can go through this really streamlined. And hopefully on the 7th, we're going to have them come out here. As many of them as possible. It's not required, but they're invited to attend and take a look at the building and ask questions. And all questions are going to be on the website so that they can be viewed, and then they'll all be answered by a certain date. And then once that's all done, it's going to go to review, and then council, and that's going to be in September. So we'll have a definitive answer by the end of September as to who we select, and then we can start work by, hopefully, in October. And then, along with that, talking with FPL about partnering for their program to put in solar trees and a solar canopy in the parking lot out back. The solar canopy would go in the second row and the first row where the handicap are, and then the second row would go between the two oak trees there. The solar trees that would go out front are the same types that they use currently at the zoo. It's part of a program that FPL has. It's at no cost to us. The only potential cost is that, you know, since we're going to have solar on our building, this is the issue that they typically do, is they run the solar trees into the building grid, whereas with the solar canopy, it runs right back into the regular FPL grid. So we don't even really touch that power that they generate from the solar canopies unless we wanted to. We won't need to because we'll have solar ourselves. This is more of an education thing for the community to get the word out about solar and to be, you know, very aware of what's out there. And then in the future, we can put this at other locations. Right now, we're looking at this location and Pelican Park, the first parking lot on the west side of the parking lot. But the solar trees are typically tied into the building, so you would usually have that energy coming into your building, and then you'd get charged for it as if it was regular energy that you were drawing from the grid. But since we're not, this gets a little confusing. This is what got me a while to understand. Since we're not going to be using energy from the grid, because we'll be using energy from solar, we'll probably just tie the solar trees into the regular line, not ours. But we're going to work out all the details with them as soon as possible and hopefully move on this really quickly. And then out there, you'll hopefully have Wi-Fi and charging stations for cell phones around the solar tree so that, you know, residents that come and hang out and look at the pond would be able to come and relax and charge their phone and get Wi-Fi outside.
Why do them here and not at the Schechter Center?
The FPL said that they felt that the Schechner Center would be a bigger scale project, and if they did one car row, like a canopy row over there, it would kind of be too small, whereas they wanted to make it seem as impactful as possible. So they would, if they were going to come back and do it again with us, they would do the Schechner Center as a huge project.
We do have a problem too, because we had activities there.
And there are activities there, whereas this parking lot is very specific to its use, which is a lot easier to deal with. Activities there are good and bad from FPL's point of view. But again, that's something that hopefully if we do one project with them, they'll be more inclined to do a second project.
What about the sports park?
Again, visibility was a big issue for them, so if we can...
A 250,000 visits a year to the library.
That's a good sell point.
Recreation.
Yeah, so, yeah, and all the sports...
Plus all the recreation. I
Yeah,
mean,
so-
you're huge participation.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that we'll get to. They found what they liked, and we didn't want to say no.
There's a lot of real estate.
A lot of real estate out there. We've got to start somewhere, and starting at City Hall seemed to be the fair middle ground decision to make. So with that going forward, we're looking at getting that to council as soon as possible.
Now, what does the city get from this? The solar trees, FPL installs and sells the electricity to the,
That would go either through our building and back to the grid, or directly back to the grid.
okay. But does the city, if they put it right in the grid, does the owner of the property where the solar trees are installed get anything out of the deal?
They rent the land from us, so there's a contract to rent that space. So that we lease that land to them, so they pay for that space.
Okay.
We also get the charging station and the Wi-Fi out there,
Okay.
so that we can...
See, that's something that, boy, I think would be very popular at sports.
Oh, absolutely. And I think once it's successful here, it's something that we can always put into the sports park. A solar tree is not really that much space.
And the other place is the DeSoto stormwater.
That's what I was thinking. for
Because,
sure. So
we
once that's
had
done-
Brevard Solar talk about doing it, but it hasn't
Right.
gained
And
momentum yet.
because of that conversation, I didn't want to go one way or the other without, really...
Well, we can
communicate
start
with
doing
everybody.
the others, and then
So I think
there
we
might
start
be an
here.
incentive, yeah.
And we can have both. There's no reason to not have both Brevard Solar and FPL Solar.
Well, I could see Brevard Solar not being real interested in duplicating what's, yeah.
Well, Brevard Solar might be able to donate some smaller panels to run some pumps and stuff. That might be really, really cool if they could do that.
Mhm.
Whereas the solar tree might be used for cell phone charging and things like that.
How big is it?
Solar tree, 25 feet with an arm.
It was about,
Oh, go for it.
it was about 25 feet high, I think, 25 feet, and it provided 200, the larger one provided 200 square feet of shade.
About 3 kilowatts.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 3 kilowatts per
There's
tree.
two versions. One has two branches with panels on each branch, and then one is just looks like a,
Flower.
like a lily pad.
Yeah.
Just one of stem and then like a cylindrical.
Is it going to be placed out here in the parking lot?
I was thinking out front, there's grassy spaces. Yeah. Yeah, the 2 grass spaces on the sides, and then right in the center next to the bottle brush tree. So they would have a nice triangle effect, 50, 55 feet apart roughly. And that way you can kind of get max coverage and visibility. And
I think, yeah, I'd be real inclined, real quick to start looking at the sports park.
Oh, yeah. This is something that they needed to do yesterday. The only reason that it happened was I was at a meeting with them at the zoo where they were supposed to be talking with the airport, and the airport didn't show up. We were going to be talking about stuff for next year, but, right place, right time, so we got lucky. Then, let's see what else, staff updates. We're working on converting this building to solar, but also looking at all the other municipal buildings being converted to solar. Austin is running a program for that. Zach is helping with, all of it as well. Austin, how far have you gotten with that?
I did the fire station. I did the beach parking lot. I've done a design for City Hall. City Hall came to 200 kilowatts. 200 kilowatts on average.
So that's our capacity. He ran the program, put in all the data, so that when we get our bids back, we'll have a ballpark of what we know is actually possible.
City Hall has a usage of 150 kilowatts, so we have 50 kilowatts that
You can go over, yeah.
can go into the grid, or we can put it into batteries or something like that.
I like the battery idea.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, FPL, you said, has both canopies and trees.
Right.
But the canopies, they want to do big areas?
Well, they want to have visibility.
Well, again, I was
I
thinking...
agree. I agree
I
completely,
would think
John.
down at the sports park, the
Yeah.
folks around some
I
of those
took them on a tour of the
fields-
city, I showed them every possible spot. This was the agreement we came to.
Now, are they willing to put panels on existing pavilions?
That, I'll make a note to talk to them about that.
Well, take a look at Pelican Beach Park. You've got all those,
Yeah, all the
Pavilions there.
pavilions there, yeah. I think they want these two structures for this project. It's a very specific project with specific funding. That would be something that they would be outside their purview for this project. But once we put a foot in the door, we can probably, open it a little bit more.
yeah, because, I mean, especially if you could say, okay, you can lease the roof of these buildings, and it would also help protect the roofs.
Sure. Again, we'll be happy to do it. So that's most of the solar stuff, I think. The community garden has been going very well. I invited Sam here today to talk about it a little bit because he's the scout that helped us build all the beds. Now that the beds are built, we're going to go into the next phase of creating that community garden, working with Public Works to kind of clean up the area. We're going to look at the irrigation next, and then on the 8th, you're all welcome to come out to the community garden area for the building of the fence. We're going to put that fence around it that we talked about that isn't too tall, isn't too small, and it's going to have a rope in the middle of it. It's going to have a nice ADA compliant arbor kind of situation that you can walk through, and then we'll end up eventually putting a sign on it so that when we do the release on September 1st, that it'll all be done and ready. I've been working on the irrigation designs and talking with Public Works about it, and we could probably use some of the gravel that they have over there, like we talked about, to put the rain barrels on a raised platform so that we'll have head pressure. There'll be enough to water all the beds. And
Is that July 8th or August 8th?
July 8th.
Next week.
Next week. And then once that's done, we'll hopefully have most of August to kind of finish up and tidy up everything and make it look really, really good. So on September 1st, when we launch it, we'll have, the perfect example of what we've been trying to accomplish with the community garden. And big thanks to Sam for that. Austin, if you want to pull up the community garden.
Back to solar.
Sure.
What about Atlantic Plaza?
That's
obviously not our territory,
Right,
but
but
if somebody does a little
I think that's the goal
coordinating-
that FPL has too, is to, partner with us so that they get that visibility so that they can have those conversations.
Well, if they want visibility,
I think those condos too, the condos that are going up, if they're gonna have parking over there that isn't underground,
shade.
well, yeah, it makes good shade.
What I'm saying
Oh, you
is
think
that
shade
half
on
the
the
day,
Yeah, it's true,
those
too.
panels will be
Yeah,
shaded.
that's true too.
But,
Maybe a tree then, just for looks.
Atlantic Plaza, they've got a lot of real estate there.
So what exactly is the contract with FPL? So what does the city gain out of this other than
We get the money from the land lease,
gets money from the land lease?
we get to promote the solar concept and the solar mentality in our community.
But we don't get any of the power that's generated by it.
Unless we want to pay for it. It would be just at the regular cost.
You do get covered parking.
You do get covered parking?
Now, the police department wants that in their lot.
Yes, and I think once we do this with FPL, we'll hopefully, again, it's proof. Once we do this, we'll have that foot in the door so that we can start talking about the police station and then maybe the fire station in the future or other buildings or the
Well, the
complex.
fire station is temporary.
Yeah, or I'm just saying, whatever facility that we would like to look at, they'll be more inclined to partner with us, if this goes well. Because we're helping them out also because, like I said, it's at the end of their cycle and they need to do projects. So we're lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I would just proceed with caution with any of
Oh,
those
it's,
FPL
the contract is being read over by the lawyers, so it's in that phase where, if
Just
there's.
based on what they did with the amendment one or whatever.
Right. I think this is their way to kind of like come back from that too. Like they understand that they were probably not viewed in the best light,
Yeah.
pardon the pun, but maybe now they will be, if they do projects like this. And again, this is a specific project that they are funding for. It's not part of some general fund or anything.
As long as it doesn't lock us out of
Right.
doing it ourselves.
I read the contract, but that's not my best thing, so it's, it's out there being read by James.
Well, this is probably being
Jay's
paid
people.
for through, you've got the option with FPL, we're paying, what is an extra penny per kilowatt hour or something supposedly, then you're using, quote, renewable, unquote, energy.
Mhm.
And that's how they pay for it.
Yeah, they want to be, FPL wants to be selling you power.
Oh, yeah,
Whether it's
absolutely.
Solar
Yeah.
or wherever they generate it.
And that's why I'm talking with Anuj, who's the contact there, and being very receptive to our specific situation, being that we will have solar on our building. We won't need any power that they generate. So, again, we can tie it back into the grid and just get the benefit of having the awareness, having the hookups that I mentioned with the charging. So yeah, hopefully that comes back well, and we'll iron out all the details as soon as possible.
So maybe this is like a naive question, but is there any way for the citizens to benefit from, like, their energy costs from our city kind of inputting energy back into the system by providing this?
Great. It's something we could talk to them about, but that's not how the program typically works. You're thinking like if we generate that power because they're leasing the land from us, that power should be made available at a discounted rate, kind of a thing?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the logic in that, but
Yeah.
again, dealing with FPL.
Right. Yeah.
Just working the contract as it exists and making use of that relationship hopefully will yield future benefits that may be more flexible.
Right, and it brings awareness, and hopefully, folks are then putting solar on their own homes to get the benefit you just mentioned for the reduced costs and whatnot.
Right.
And then also just to build a
And even-
larger solar.
Yeah.
It gets them interested in the PACE program or other programs or other things that exist. I mean, I think seeing solar panels in general immediately makes you think, well, okay, that's not just an idea, it's a functional idea. So the more that they see it, when they see it on City Hall, that's great, but if we put a solar tree out front, they'll be able to see that from the road. And it'll like really increase visibility. They'll then maybe get them into that conversation where we could say, yeah, but that's just out front. We also have it on our roof, and the whole building is, powered that way. So that's the focus behind that. But I don't want to take up too much time on it because I know we got.
Yeah.
If you can get it on the roof here and we get it installed, you can put a sign out front that'll make it real clear
Oh yeah,
that this was cost effective, and I think that'll be a big selling point.
I'm pretty sure we'll have a very nice sign to go with with the solar project. So with the community garden, we'll scroll through it pretty fast. There's just a couple of them. Zach up with slides. So again, you guys were here for this. I want to thank you more than anything. This isn't really to educate you guys. It's more just to say thanks for creating this project and thanks for the city to allowing it to happen. And thank you to all the partners involved because it was a team group effort on many, many levels. And it was that sustainability achievement target, that green achievement target, that gap that Zach had created. Zach, if you want to run through this, feel free.
So this is what it looked like, obviously, beforehand when it was just an empty field, just behind the racquetball courts, and now it looks like this. So if you want to click it. Yeah. So there's a shade house. As I understand it, those pilings go down at least 3 feet in concrete, so those aren't going anywhere. The screens might be a different story, but at least the structure will still be there. The entire inside is now mulched with donations from Walmart. And then the cinder block goes all the way around. And the cinder block serves as a function to not only just line the shade house, but also to literally put plant pots in them, the little mangrove pots. So, and then there's 4 rain barrels, 55 gallons, and each of them have screen over them to prevent any bugs or mosquitoes from nesting in there, because that'd be kind of bad. There's irrigation from the tap that runs to that pipe there in the left corner, and there's one on the right corner. And then there's drip line that goes around the entire outside for all the native species that line the entire shade house. And then there's shelving on the inside in the middle, and on the other side, on the outer walls, back and on left and right sides, that can swing up for more space if you need to.
And I went out there for the meeting, it was awesome.
All right, how's it looking?
That's great.
Yeah, we got some plants in there right now from residents and people that are storing plants while they're moving. Jackie, our secretary up front, who volunteers with us, she's moving and she didn't have a place to put her plants. And I was like, well, great, we just built a shade house that's part of the community garden, so put your plants there for a little while and use the irrigation and water them and all that.
There's definitely a temperature difference when you go inside. It's definitely milder
That's 10
inside.
degrees.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And then, Austin, you can go forward. Yeah, so these are the beds that were, this is the first day of construction. Sam, do you want to talk about that?
Invite Sam up? Yeah, thanks. Sam?
So our first day of construction, we had both my Boy Scout troop, Troop 309, and my church volunteer group called Nerve to Serve out there. We were building beds. The first day we built all of the side pieces and got them all constructed, as well as got all of the metal and all of the wood cut. And then the second day, we went out and attached the end pieces. So we wanted to get everything done the first day, but we had some problems.
Takes time, you know.
Yeah. So in 2 days, we got 20 beds completed.
Yep.
Yeah.
All 20 completed. Almost all of them in the first day, really.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
could have stayed out there, but you don't want to overwork everybody. And, I mean, just big thanks to Sam for getting his groups together. It was an amazing job. Really well done. The only thing left to do is we're going to come back and put in some caps on the end. You can see how the metal kind of hangs out there on the sides, and to avoid any future injury, I got some plywood. I'm just going to seal it and put it on the sides. And then we'll put the numbers. So following with FIT's good design and numbering system, they'll all be numbered. So when you rent your bed, there's no confusing on who gets what bed.
You know, it's a little bit late, but what that reminds me of is the beginnings of a grow box. In other words, if somehow you had a container in the bottom, you know, the deal, how a grow box works.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you know, put a foot of soil on top of that, then your irrigation would be pretty well taken care of, because it'd be all by osmosis up through the
Oh, yeah.
column of dirt. Future reference.
Well, yeah, but like I said this before, I'll say it again, this was phase 1 of the community garden. And the more that we worked on it, the more ideas, you know, started to flow.
There's plenty of space for more to be attached to this.
What?
There's plenty of space for more additions to be made.
Okay. Well, somebody might want to start to think about
I
how
was
you
at,
would look
I was
up.
at the ESERT and the NART teams, the Eastern Restoration and North Restoration team meeting today with Dr. Dwayne DeFries and Jeff Beal, and just a whole room full of people way smarter than I was. And Vincent from FOS was talking about seagrasses, and Dennis Hansack was talking about seagrasses and growing seagrasses in these pools. And I don't see why this facility wouldn't be perfect to grow seagrasses in those pools, in some very simple elevated pools that aren't too deep, aren't too shallow. And then in the future, in restoration, possibly around Sampson's Island. I got a lot of ideas today because I went to this meeting all day today. And if we could do something around Sampson's Island in the future on the west side by building out some structure, some maybe oyster reef structure, some capped mud flats and things like that, that wouldn't impede boat traffic, but would increase our possibility for seagrasses to be planted in a lower energy environment. And there's not a lot of energy there now, which makes it a pretty good site for it. But if there was any dredging done in the area, to use that dredge material for other projects, to try to reuse that material, and plant seagrasses, everybody that was there was saying, well, if you're going to do seagrasses, you need to do it from a local source of seagrass. You can't just be grabbing seagrasses from Titusville or from St. Lucie. You want to be growing them locally from a local source. So getting some some Johnson seagrass, some turtle, some star, whatever the type of seagrass is that we have, and growing it from little seedlings or saps of what they would be. Those sprouts you can weave into mats is what they're doing. And then it starts to grow into that mat of burlap, and then you have a burlap mat that you can just put out there, probably with the manatee cage, to reduce any vegetation being grazed on. But yeah, it's like I said, it's phase one. Phase one. So go ahead, Austin, and go to the next slide. So what's next? Yeah. So design irrigation. I'm going to have a fully functional irrigation design for you guys at the next meeting, with approval from Public Works, hopefully. And we're going to install the fence on the 8th, like I said, and then install the irrigation system at the end of July. So then we'll have all of August to do any tweaks and any alterations, sand down any rough edges, as it were. So that's all I'm planning for ribbon cutting on September 1st. And also, do you want to watch the video? We got a quick video, Julie. What do you think? You have time for it?
Oh, I don't have sound set up.
Oh. Well, it's just bluegrass music in the background.
It's just you speaking.
Well, you guys have heard me talk plenty. Go ahead. This was, of course, made by Dylan Hansen with his wonderful skills that have proven useful time and time again. So thank you very much for that hard work there.
Which video is this?
This was the community garden one. It was on Facebook. I think it got 14,000 views in like 2 days or something like that. Are we not signed in? All right, it's on Facebook. You guys can watch it.
Scroll down. It's not letting you?
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, sorry. That was another thing I was going to talk about is the posting on this page. I'll get to it after this video.
Okay, perfect segue. Keep, a lot of good videos, a lot of good content. Yeah, it was very hot that day. You can see all the volunteers. Isn't there to serve? We actually started the day with this little group activity. I was the only one operating that saw. just to be clear.
Did you have to cut the metal?
Yeah, we did.
Oh.
Yeah. With tin shears. Everybody cutting the metal was wearing gloves.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Stainless steel, hardworking interns.
So what do you need to put on the corners?
We're going to just put a little piece of plywood just to hold in that metal, because the last thing you want.
Right, vertical pieces? that go on
Yeah,
the
vertical
corner?
pieces 6 inches by 2 feet.
What about like a, what's that?
You could. I just wanted wood. I thought it would look real nice.
To cap the corner.
Just the cap, 6 inches by 2 feet long. So just have these 6-inch caps on each side. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, if you butt them up together,
Yeah.
they look like a corner.
It'll look like a corner piece, exactly. Yeah. Should look pretty good. So yeah, with that, and then I'll go back in and go to the top of this page. Scroll up. Yeah, and then click on the top one under folders. Yep. These are all Sam's photos. Everything from our time at Lowe's together. I mean, you name it. We did everything with this project with Sam. I cannot thank him enough. And Ed at Lowe's. So shout out to Ed at Lowe's, because he was very instrumental. So that's one thing we didn't talk about there that we were getting, and that, you can just keep scrolling. Was the underneath the beds, we have weed barrier to help block all that. So that all got delivered. Thanks to Public Works for picking that up with me, because Lowe's messed up our delivery day.
Did the metal come from Lowe's also?
Yeah, it's the same sheeting, pretty much.
The 4x8 sheet, is that?
Yeah, it's galvanized steel, 4x8 sheets.
So we had to cut them in half. So there's one rough edge, and that rough edge is on the ground.
Makes sense.
It's a little bit longer, so it'll kind of stick in the ground a little bit, so it's not going to shimmy around. Not that it would, it weighs roughly 50 pounds.
Yeah, pretty good. If you're worried about weeds too, we've had the aardvark going now since February. We've had very little weed problems growing out through the beds.
Yeah.
Little penny warts, that's about it.
That's all coming from the top anyway. It's not going to come from the bottom.
Yeah, this is grass.
Yeah, you're going to have 2 feet of dirt.
I guess torpedo grass can grow up in there, but.
Yeah, you probably could.
Our was built on the same grass too.
Yeah. And you guys didn't do anything to the, okay.
Ours doesn't even have cloth underneath. It just has straight soil.
Wow, an army of people.
An army of people.
We had 52 volunteers out there that day.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Really incredible group.
You need it when you're doing something like that. That's a lot of work, man.
Yeah. It was good to do it all in one day, I think, too. I mean, or 2 days to get it done. You don't want to stretch these things out too long. And the leader of the scouts there, Kay Bruce, is a really great resource and just a wonderful individual who helped connect us and to get this all going with both Sam and Connor, who's our other scout that's going to be doing the project on the 8th. So I think that was most of my updates. Let's see what else. We're going to be planting the trees near the skate park that was requested due to a complaint from a resident. We got buttonwoods coming in from Four Seas Nursery. They're going to be planted. If you guys want to help with that or know anybody that would like to help with that, then let me know. That's going to be next week, not week after next, July 10th through the 14th. And then we're going to do more community garden work with Public Works all through July and August, getting all that ready. But again, the main date to remember is on the 8th for the next scout project. And then the NEP grant is what I'll finish up with, unless you guys have anything to add. What do we got on there? I'm going to let you talk about that.
Last week at City Council meeting, the city opted to join the Climate Change Mayors Network, which is really cool, since cities are really taking the initiative nowadays to push sustainability endeavors ahead. Basically, to help the city network better among other cities, see what they're doing, see what we're doing. So that's a really cool step forward.
Yeah, I'd like to applaud the mayor for that. That is a really nice step forward. So that you guys are good. The NEP grant did get approved. So today when I was at the ECERT and the NERT meeting, I got to be put up front in front of all my peers of 50 some odd highly educated individuals and talk about the project. They're going to have us do a small pilot version of it first. But basically the main idea is we want to reduce stormwater impacts. So partnering with Dr. Jeffries from FIT to monitor the impacts to the lagoon through the stormwater basin at DeSoto. So that basin sees, millions of gallons of water go through it. The idea is to reduce the impact by increasing vegetation, so enhancing the existing stormwater infrastructure. So we're going to do that by planting swales along that median area, Spartina patens, Spartina Beckeri, maybe even a little alternative flora, Spartina alternative flora down the center, some kunti, some dune sunflower, some blanket flower. We want to make it aesthetically pleasing and functional, so we want to have this.
This is at on the east side of the city, right?
On the
canal.
east side of DeSoto. Well, it's on DeSoto Parkway itself, but on the east side of Kale.
Okay.
So running towards the east side there. In those medians, there are trees, but there's nothing on the ground. So to increase the vegetation on the ground, by creating small swales, we can retain a little extra water during those events and allow for more percolation and more nutrient absorption during that process. Also, on the ponds that are by the library, there's those 3 main stormwater ponds, vegetating around them with Spartina and mangroves to reduce any erosion that exists on those shorelines in a high storm event and increase nutrient absorption through those root systems. Also, you're going to be creating habitat as well. You're going to be creating a seed source that we can use in the future. If we want to do restoration on other areas, we can harvest the ones that fall off and float around in those little areas. And hopefully we can, use them or donate them to people that can. And when we get that first data set from Dr. Jeffries, I'll let you guys know, but the idea is that we're going to be sampling immediately after rain events, because we want to be able to determine, well, what's the actual runoff before the project, and then what's the runoff after the project, and we want to be able to compare it and see, did the plants actually do anything at all? We're not expecting a huge change, because it's a small impact, but I calculate somewhere around a 1% reduction in stormwater nutrients that are going to exist that run off. So, 1% of a large number of nutrients that run off is still decent, and if each community did that, we'd be setting an example that other people could follow and really reduce our inputs to the lagoon that way. Talking with some of the professors and people there today, a baffle box costs, 50, 60 grand. This project will be, less than that overall, and hopefully do more than a baffle box. So it's going to impact that drainage system. It's going to exit right there at where the DeSoto Park is going to go, where the pond will be, where all the manatees hang out. That's the one exit point for the stormwater currently. And then there's the second exit point, which is south of the skate park, which is actually where we're going to plant the buttonwoods. So those two locations are where the stormwater currently exits the stormwater system and goes into the rest of the system leads into the lagoon. So treating it with this technique hopefully will prove viable for the future. So that's all I got, and I'll yield the. Oh, Asif, do you have anything else?
Going back to the idea about community solar. I was thinking for community solar, to come up with a plan in which the city gives an incentive and a renting procedure in which you can rent solar with it. So you create a system in which the city hall or the city itself would start renting out parts of solar to the system. So let's say the person himself buying the system would be renting it out over a certain year, and the city would own the system for that amount of time.
That's really nice. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Let's write something up on that.
Yeah, okay, you're talking about installed on their property?
Yeah, so you install on their property, but the city owns the system itself, so the panels, the inverters, the cabling.
And then they rent it out.
And they rent it out through the city itself.
Okay, there's some, gotta navigate some legal issues, but, yeah, that's kind of what the city was. We were on the other side back in 2011. There was a private company that was basically leasing to municipalities a complete solar system. And the deal was, after a certain number of years, you owned it. So, yeah, if that can be worked out and made fiscally viable.
That's the program that FPL is actually developing now, is to lease out panels. That's their.
There you go.
They're not against solar. They're against rooftop solar because they're not making any money off that, and it uses their system. And so they're paying for all the infrastructure and the lines and the plants that process it. And they're not getting anything from those rooftop users. So that's why that amendment was actually a fee, basically. So very similar to water or sewer utilities. When you have when you go out of town, you turn off your water and you go out and you close your house up for 6 months, you will pay a monthly fee anyway. And that's a maintenance fee for the whole system, and that's what FPL was trying to do with that amendment. So that's their logic behind it, and it's actually pretty logical, when you're looking at it from a utility standpoint. So now they've realized with the reason why they're going after large solar fields now and trying to do demonstration projects like what they're doing with us is their settlement with the Public Service Commission for their rate increase had to include solar, because so many members of the public went to the Public Service Commission and demanded that they start using solar as their energy source instead of natural gas.
Well, that's, the electric utilities need to begin shifting their business model more towards managing the grid and stuff and less emphasis on the generation, and that's where we're in the process of making
When
that
the
tradition.
power companies started switching to natural gas, the clean energy part was really more marketing rather than their real concern. Their real concern was just getting off foreign dependency of foreign oil. That was their real concern, was to remove themselves from foreign oil dependency. Now they're starting to realize that there's a bigger issue about, climate change and public concern about that, and so they're starting to react to that. But
It makes sense that they would want to, find a way to pay for their infrastructure.
yeah, they're just trying. They're a business, so they're trying to capture that market, and they'll eventually get it. So we got to get rooftop solar while we can. I have just one thing before you guys move on. Is that are you guys done?
Yeah.
Okay. Before this meeting, I was at the Indian River Lagoon Coalition with Blake over here, and part of the reason why I was asked to go is to talk about you all and how we came, how we got here where you're at now, and they're trying to establish boards throughout the county, and we were talking about ways to get that done, and I think sustainability for us doesn't really end at the city limits, so we have somewhat of a responsibility to try to help out getting the rest of the county on board with the initiatives. And we have Cocoa Beach has started theirs. Titusville has always had one, and part of Titusville's actions now are trying to renew interest in their environmental commission. So what we were proposing, and speaking with Tony Sasso with Keep Brevard Beautiful, was to have a summit of the sustainability boards, like a workshop where you all would meet with Cocoa Beach's board and Titusville's board, and we have all of you all in one room, and y'all talk about your different initiatives, and maybe each board would decide on a presentation they want to give and their priorities for the year, and kind of share, like, information sharing. And what we would want to do is invite the press and kind of publicize that and use that as a way to get Melbourne interested and Cocoa interested in Rockledge and so on. And because one of the things that, as a city, I can tell you is one reason why we do things is because the other city did it, and we got to get on board too. So we know that, and so with your permission, if that's something you all want to do, we'll go ahead and get that scheduled.
If I could, I had folks from Cocoa Beach and folks not that long ago from Cocoa approach me, and we had quite lengthy discussions about the history behind this board.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm finding is that it depends on the culture of the city.
Mm-hmm.
That's one reason this works so well here, because you go back to the beginnings of Sampson's Island. It's just been a growing groundswell.
And she was at the same meeting. She'll tell you that's exactly what I said. That we did it so well here is because our track record of environmentalism is long, and that we would have, we have to be careful of other cities that have bigger, problems that we don't have. I mean, we're lucky here. We don't have areas of poverty. We don't have crumbling roads, things like that here. So we're fortunate, and so we have to be kind of cognizant of that when we go to places that have bigger problems, and don't have the resources that we have. Then we have a lot of human resource here with you all. If we have FIT, we're lucky that we have these things. There's other communities that don't have that. So we want to make sure that we're cognizant of that. But one thing that we can provide is we've done a lot of the groundwork that they can just use.
Well, my thought was that if you're doing something like that, almost, and I'm not, obviously haven't thought about this, but kind of a workshop, in other words, the folks involved, lessons learned, whatever you want, kind of something about, so if people in a community are interested, and that's what I found, it was individuals in the community that they could come, they'd know that there was a notice meeting to
Right.
discuss kind of the logistics or the politics or whatever you want to call it of getting something started.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely make that open to the public, and we'd, advertise it through the coalition and, many of the environmental groups around here. So it would be, countywide, people could come to this. I would probably hold it in Cocoa Beach, largely because of the location, and it's, it's kind of in the middle. But, yeah. So we have, an opportunity there to involve the rest of the county and look at things regionally, regional issues that go beyond our boundaries and try to come up with solutions for that, so.
Yeah, I'm so
Be
glad
some-
that.
yeah, if the
that
county had a board.
Discussed that.
Yeah.
Because I was just talking to, I have a friend on the Melbourne Beach board, and their board's kind of small, and he's just amazed at what we're doing here. And once, we talked about, or him coming to our meetings, but unfortunately, they meet the exact same time we
So
do.
does Cocoa Beach. They're meeting
So,
tonight,
We'll
too.
do a webinar where it's like online,
Yeah.
everybody can, join in via,
It's actually a problem with everyone, like even Surfrider does their meetings at the same time.
Yeah, we may.
we can just do it through the internet. We can get everyone to Skype in together and just have one big meeting.
Yeah.
So, and we share a lot, we did, do things right in terms of, you have to start out with the decision-making staff, you have to dedicate staff, you have to dedicate funding, and we did all that, we were able to get that done, but we have, again, the resources are basically a council that said, you shall make this a priority, and if you don't have that, it's hard to get that done, so that's why we want to make it, publicize it and get the elected officials interested in doing it, because if you don't have that support at the elected level, then you're not going to be able to get anything done. So, so if that's something you all want to do, we'll be glad to start scheduling that, and we'll be sending out the notices, trying to get your,
What about the
availability. I'm sorry?
What about the county?
We talked about the county at length. The county's different a little, just because they have financial pressures that we just can't even imagine. So the likelihood that they're going to spend money on something like this would be pretty slim, yeah.
However, I think we can already demonstrate that, like I'm hoping with the City Hall Solar, that a sustainability board, part of sustainability is being able to afford things.
Right.
Is that it might actually, especially if they were kind of given a charge, what can we do that in the long run's going to save money?
You sound like Josh Collins.
Yeah, and that, I think you have three, in my opinion, three county commissioners that would create a board tomorrow if they were asked to. But there's just too many, right now, they can't give their staff raises. I mean, it's a different world over there. So, a lot of things start on the city level, and I would, that's where I would focus. I would invite them to come, the county commission, our county commissioners, and the staff, and I know Virginia would probably be there. So we have that support that way. But to ask them to create a whole nother board, I mean, I know even the Citizen Advisory Committee for the Lagoon Tax has been difficult for them to just staff. It's hard for them to put those meetings together. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to do that. It's a production. So, we want to make sure that we are cognizant of that moving forward.
I'm definitely on board with this idea, and I think that, the nice thing about having the summit and having the press involved is that we have the benefit of not only attracting the local governments of the cities and the county, but also the citizens as well. So maybe if citizens throughout the county realize that we have a sustainability board and that other cities have this, and then to be able to see what the boards have done, that raises awareness. And if that helps just one municipality move in the direction that we are, then I say it's completely worth it. Because it's always better for, I think, a local municipality to be able to decide how something like this best suits their citizens and benefits their city, and how, economically sustainable it is for them. But awareness is the first step, and this is a great opportunity for that. And we probably can all, benefit from collaborating with the local groups as well.
Do you have a time frame in mind?
I'm going to get into contact with Tony Sasso again and see what Coco's thinking and their city manager, Cocoa Beach, I mean. But I think in the next couple months would be great. Because I definitely, if it's now a priority of the coalition to get some, to try to get a countywide interest in sustainability. So, the quicker the better in trying to get, interest. So, okay? We're good?
Thanks, yeah. Yeah, that covers all mine.
Pretty good. Then the next agenda item is the project updates from board members. Does anyone have any updates today they'd like to share?
So, there's an aeration project that's been in the works since last October. The company that's behind it is a company called the Allied Group. They have the technology, and it involves aerating a canal here in Satellite Beach with a system of diffusers, ceramic diffusers that creates micro bubbles. Each diffuser is capable of moving over 1 million gallons of water per hour. And what they proposed is setting a series of these diffusers down the Redwood Canal and have the system operate 24 hours a day for the better part of a year. Trefry has been involved with taking some baseline measurements. He had a critical threshold of, I think, 15% organic matter in the canal that he needed to see in order to evaluate whether or not to even be involved with this project. The amount of organic matter that he ended up taking measurements on was 16%, so we were able to cross that threshold there. We're in a little bit of a holdup as it relates to how the equipment will be powered. The station is going to be, the property will be stationed, or the equipment will be stationed on a piece of residential property, but the power is going to be an issue. FPL is involved with that. Pensington Electric is involved with that. And Allied Group is just sort of in limbo right now as it relates to when or how that.
How much power does it require?
I'm not exactly sure, but it's more than what my panel can accommodate. So they had to go this route. It was either that or I upgrade my panel, and I can't.
How much more do you need?
Again, I don't know the specifics of that.
We
I
could
can
talk.
find those things out.
We could talk with Jim Span from Brevard Solar.
Yeah, what about solar?
He's offered some panels in the past that they've had extra panels.
The idea that was last discussed between the electrician, Allied, and myself was that this will be powered solely by FP&L bringing in a temporary power pole. A supplemental power source certainly was not discussed, but.
And maybe you can answer this, maybe Courtney can answer this. Was Dr. Treffery's NEP grant approved? Yeah? All right. Well, that's good.
Yeah, I would think it'd be like if somebody's building a house, first thing you do is put in basically a construction pole and a box, and,
Yeah, the
there's a
location
cost
for all
to
that
it.
stuff has been identified. I don't know as though the permitting from the city is actually taking place, but I do know the electrician had a very high degree of professionalism, and I imagine he's probably already approached the city on that. And it's just a matter of, I think, getting a wire over to a pole and then putting the equipment down and running power to the equipment.
Do they run the pumps 24/7?
Yeah, it's just going to run. Yep. For the better part of a year. And Trefry will have a team. This is what has been discussed. If this does come to fruition, Trefry will have a team that will come and do regular measurements on the organic matter to determine just how much aeration is capable of reducing that. And obviously the main nutrients are nitrogen and phosphorus.
Is there some individual, whether the company or something else, that's kind of pushing this, or is it kind of, you use the term limbo, so I wasn't quite sure what
Yeah, I used limbo because it's just the company is in limbo as it relates to FPL Power. That's the limbo factor.
The company still exists, and they're.
Is there someone who's like totally squeaking? Is that what you're wondering?
Well,
Making some
if there's,
racket to get
well,
this done?
somebody, yeah, that's, you know, especially working with somebody like FPL, you know,
Yeah.
you need to prod, but
Yeah, no,
not
they
be
have
obnoxious.
Yeah, they have a couple people. They have an electrical engineer that's been highly involved with being able to educate what the technology, you know, is capable of doing. But he's not the most aggressive closer, you know?
Okay, 'cause
And then they do have a foreman who comes out and monitors the projects, make sure the equipment's in good working order and things of that nature.
I guess where I'm going is, there are vacant lots in the city. If I were going to build a house on one, first thing I'd need be basically a drop pole. And I can't imagine that this is rare for the guys at FPL. There ought to be a standard procedure. Somebody calls somebody and says, we need, okay, here's the permit, here's the paperwork, make it happen. And
PL does not act quickly.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know anything about it, so I'll call tomorrow and find out.
To, you know, to Courtney's point, I think there's literally FPL reps that are involved with this kind of stuff, so you have to literally call this guy who comes out and he'll check things out. And I think they've gone through 3 or 4 of those people since October,
Yeah.
in less than a year. So that alone can really hold things up, you know.
because I guess I would think if I were a general contractor building something, you know, yeah, I could understand a few months delay or something, but 6 months or a year, you know, it begins to, you know, that's
Well,
impacting
DEP
somebody.
was involved with the permitting, and the DEP process was
Yeah, okay, well, I can understand,
October, November,
yeah,
December, January, February, so it was almost a 6-month process in and of itself,
Yeah.
just to be able to move forward.
yeah, okay, I just,
Hoses down, or?
Just to get the approval to do the project.
So is there a hose on each side of the canal?
Yeah, so there's going to be a series of hoses. Each diffuser, there's going to be 8 diffusers that will go down the canal. There's going to be 3 out at the mouth of the canal to create an air curtain to prevent anything from coming into the canal, and to also try to contain whatever's in the canal from going out, because what they think is going to occur is that the health of the canal is really going to increase significantly. So they'll have 3 out at the mouth, and then they're going to have 5 going down the length. And they're going to be separated by, I think, 150 feet. It's going to start 50 feet off the end of the canal and go out. And each diffuser will have its own hose. And 2 pumps, 2 motors will have to pump air into them.
yes, you're talking some horsepower.
Yeah, solar's gonna be rough to help with something like that, mechanical stuff, it's pretty good.
So that's where we're at.
Thanks,
It's
Barry.
going to be, I think it's going to be a pretty cool project, but
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you could have like floating barges with a bunch of solar panels on them that just aerate Indian River.
yeah. Well, I think that
Yeah, just-
Allied
Well,
Group.
they actually
is-
talked about that, where they put a solar panel on the channel marker posts to generate the power for an aerator. That, I forget who was doing that, but that was an idea that got thrown around a while back.
Then you could move them where you need them, it was like.
Well, putting them on channel marker posts because there's already a structure there.
Yeah.
I've also heard, I don't
Putting
know,
it around, yeah.
I don't know how to validate it, but I've also heard that the dredging lobby is actually trying to slow this thing down too. Because the organic matter, the Allied Group has a study that they're actively conducting right now in Lake Apopka, which involves a big area. It involves, I think, 200 plus diffusers. We're talking about 8. And the project in Lake Apopka involves 200 plus diffusers. And that portion of the lake where they've been blowing air for, I think, 18 months now is significantly different. The bottom is hard, the muck is gone, cattails can't even grow in the area anymore. And I have heard that the dredging lobby is potentially got their sights set on this to slow it down. But I don't know how we can validate that, or even if we need to.
Thanks for the update, Matt.
Yeah.
That's a really good update.
Brady? If no other, then we'll move to the next one, is the agenda items for next meeting. So Anyone have any ideas for agendas for next week?
Before we get to that though,
Oh, yeah.
we're going to talk about the sustainability page a little bit. I know that, both Zach wanted to contribute some content, and David's been contributing content. I'd actually like to do a hidden Facebook group that's not public, but we're all in it, and that way we can all post articles, news, ideas, things like that that we'd like to talk about and kind of coordinate to schedule, because that's one of the things I'm trying to prevent is everyone posting overlapping too close to each other. Oh, we can't do that, really?
Not with all of them together.
Really? So then, all right, so then do they all have to literally email what they want to send them? Wow.
It might be more difficult.
Never mind, guys, sorry. Good idea.
Well, what if,
Yeah. Didn't
what if
think
we
about
just,
that, but, yeah, sunshine, huh?
what if we just had like a thing where you make sure, like, to, if you're going to post something, just look and make sure it's been 24 hours or something, so we're not posting like 15 things a
That's a
day?
good one, yeah.
Yeah, I guess we could do it that way. It's just that I choose strategic times to post at, and I don't put them inside of automatic posts. So you're not going to see my post sitting in there. And I'll post at like 4 o'clock, but you may go on and look at 1 o'clock and see there's no post, and then decide to post 3 hours before I post. That's what I was trying to prevent is when we decide to do strategic days that we don't have 2 or 3 posts coming in the same day.
Well, what were you talking about posting? Because I've had this habit, and it was something I was going to bring up. I see an article of interest, I send it to Julie, and it goes out to
Yeah, I
everybody.
just didn't know if that was really the best thing to do every time someone found something they wanted to post it and send it to you.
That,
Are you okay with that,
that's,
Julie?
I mean,
that's clean
that's
and
an old go
yeah.
of it, that's completely okay.
my question was, how many people care? I send this stuff out, and if it's not being read,
I mean, I look at your stuff.
okay.
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah.
respond right away, yes.
No, well, actually, there's a problem. If people start responding, then you get into trouble, okay? So the point is, it's just there, and maybe it'll come up for discussion, maybe not, but, there are things I'm interested in, other people are interested in different things, and just, that gives Julie something to do during the day.
Because she's not. Well, Julie, if you're okay with having everyone send you,
Before click, it's really easy.
okay, you say that now, and I'll hold you to it.
So
And I can multitask.
the plan is if we find something that we consider worthy of putting up on the Facebook
Yeah,
page,
send it to her, and then I'll see it that way, and then we can schedule.
then you could be the screener, and, because there's a lot of, we need to strategically put things up there that pertain to the city, and I'm guilty of putting stupid stuff up there, I apologize.
Put your own Facebook stuff.
I know. Well, you can post as yourself too, right, as a
On
visitor?
the actual page, you can't, no.
No.
You can comment as yourself, but you can't post as yourself.
No,
Every
there's
time
like
you
a
post
visitor.
something- every time you posted something, you post as the same.
Yeah, I did the
Yeah,
same
yeah, I
thing.
know that, but
That's
I've
fine.
also posted,
You
maybe
can
it's
post
like
a comment.
comment, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
that's what it
You
is.
can put a video in a comment.
Oh, Courtney,
But nobody looks at that.
are we getting into trouble making comments on Facebook pages? That doesn't,
Well, if you have a conversation with each other about something that's going to come to vote, then yes.
okay, that's where I was going, yeah.
You
Need to be
want to have a
careful.
comment, you can comment.
Well, if you get into a
Yeah, don't
tit
get
for
into
tat,
a
back and
conversation.
forth,
Just don't do that.
yeah.
Keep it simple. Nice video.
Or don't comment.
Or just don't comment. There's a like button too, just.
But we should definitely give priority to stuff that immediately pertains to the city, like the videos of the community garden and things like that. And so can you tell us a little bit about why, I mean, without getting, making it too drawn out, why it's important to do it spaced out?
Because Facebook has really been targeting, fake news, so their algorithms have gotten really aggressive, and it's very difficult now to grow a Facebook page unless you're really strategic about what you post and the audience it captures, and it rates you, and it will start pushing you down and up very quickly depending on your posts. So I'm trying to be very strategic in growing a reach right now.
Is it?
So if you're spamming, they just bump you
Yeah,
low,
it
kind
comes
of
down
thing.
very quickly. It's just how many people respond to your post in what period of time.
Right.
And if you post too many too quickly, you start dividing your audience, and if you don't get enough on one post, it rates all of them low. So, trying to be strategic.
The science of Facebook.
No.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Courtney.
Thanks, Courtney. All right, then we'll move on.
Ken, did you have your hand up?
Oh, sorry, Ken.
I was just wondering if there was a brief opportunity for brief comment.
Comment.
Sure. Yeah, if you want to come forward and make a comment?
Ken Lindeman, Glenwood Avenue, Satellite Beach, great job. Quick things. I saw the Tree City presentation. FYI, FIT has that rating as a Tree Campus USA through the National Arbor Day Foundation. We've done that whole run. The woman who's managed it, you might want to talk to her. She's the arborist at FIT. Her name is Holly Chichester. Next, solar trees, etc. We have done a lot of preliminary research over the years on solar picnic tables, which are really cool. Picnic table, canopy, brand your canopy, color your canopy in the picnic table. It's all made out of recycled plastic. It's loaded up with solar, and so you can plug in all your devices. And I think the university has missed opportunities. Well, I know, I can't say that. The university has been very, very busy in a lot of ways. But, and we have a lot of interest in doing this still at the university. Solar picnic tables, I'll send you some information. I'll send that to Julie.
Yeah.
Holly Chichester at FIT, call the, yeah, you know Holly, of course. Okay, get her dialed in. It's Tree Campus USA, which very much is similar to Tree City USA. It wasn't, there's stuff you have to do, but once you're doing it, you're pretty good. But you definitely need to scope it and not overextend. Solar, since we're getting there, solar on City Hall, goodness gracious, with everything you guys are talking about, why not get a dashboard in there? Is that in your RFP?
A what?
Get a freaking dashboard.
What's a dashboard? A what?
He's talking about having basically a public interface, so where it'd be maybe like a flat screen TV in the lobby right here that displays the current energy usage.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that.
Love it.
Yeah, I'll make sure that's part of it.
It'll track all your data.
All we got to do is ask them to add that once they come back with the RFP.
It's just, it's pretty routine now.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I haven't seen
Yeah,
any,
it's right there, huh?
yeah,
I've got it, I can pull it up on my phone.
Microinverter?
Exactly what my house is doing.
yeah, I haven't seen any installation that they didn't have that monitoring
Well,
capability.
a lot
Part
of
it being it's a
folks
matter of
don't
just
have it,
displaying.
but
But I like
it's,
the idea of putting on a big screen TV on the front, though.
yeah.
That's a great idea.
And, or you can have a little panel in the wall that looks like something out of the Jetsons. It's pretty cool. So, but the price has come down on this. It's not, it's Jetsoning now. It's doable. You just pull that in, man. It's not that much of a percentage of your overall. And then, man, that just like, people are electrified by that sometimes. School groups, the whole deal.
And put it on the city's website.
Yeah. on
Yeah,
Facebook.
yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's called commonly a dashboard.
Okay.
I told you this would be quick. I had 5 notes here. I just thought I'd say that you guys are so excellent to watch. I knew it would accumulate. The stuff that Courtney talked about is great. I'll talk further with her. And FYI, something that's relevant to that, and Terry, you'll want to be involved in this as well as the board you will want to be representing the city. There's going to be another American Assembly of the Marine Resources Council is putting on the 16th American Assembly in 20 plus years or more. And that's going to be August 17, 18.
August? This
Yeah.
August?
Yeah.
Great.
So,
Where? At the MRC?
probably at the MRC.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly.
Wasn't it
Last
FIT?
time it was at FIT.
Not gonna happen again?
Well, this is part of that DNA.
Right.
But so I don't know where it's going to be, just
They
FYI.
They were actually considering moving it out of the county for this year, just to try to draw in other counties supporting it, making it look like MRC isn't trying to.
They should have it at Harbor Branch, really. I mean, it's a really central location, it's got facility, that lecture hall's pretty big.
I would encourage you to talk to Lisa Soto.
I'll reach out. I saw Steve today, so. That gives me a okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Then the next one is discuss, take action on chair and vice chair positions. So last meeting, we went ahead and tabled this because we are short one chair at this point. And also David's not here this week. So options are we can continue to roll this way until we get a full staff and then make a vote. Or we can go ahead and see about voting someone in.
If you could.
Tonight.
There's no one
Yeah.
currently on the waiting list.
If you guys wouldn't mind, I got a couple potential that I'm waiting to hear back from. For next month, I hope to have 3 possible people that we can, vote to put in the chair. So if you don't mind waiting.
Sure.
That's fine, if you don't mind.
No, I have
Sharon.
no issues. We can go
Okay.
again next month, see how we do. Just roll this
But
way.
just keep in mind that no one coming in new is going to step up to be
Right,
chair.
right.
That's true, too, yeah. Well,
I mean,
No, but it'd be nice if they got the vote.
they have to be involved in it. But they don't really know anybody.
Well, they may or may not, who knows?
But David's not here.
Yeah, we should wait for Dave. We should wait.
Yeah.
Well, but you guys need to start thinking about who wants to step up.
Right.
Why? We've got somebody there.
Well, he does not have support right now. He's acting chair. He does not have a vice chair.
Am I allowed to nominate anyone for chair, or am I not involved in this? I am not involved in this. I'm just gonna sit over here.
Well, let's put it this way. Does anyone want to volunteer to, are you happy with being chair?
I'll keep going.
Okay, somebody want to do a vice?
So let me make a motion. Make a motion for chair?
What
I
happened?
can't
What
motion
missed?
myself.
Sorry, what
Yeah.
I make a motion for Eugene for chair.
Oh, really?
Second. We have a second.
Okay.
Congratulations. Anybody want to make a motion for vice chair?
Okay, we got a motion and a second, so now we need to vote on it.
John Fergus,
Yes.
Matt White,
Yeah.
David Floyd,
Yes.
Jackie Henning,
Yes.
Eugene Matthews.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. Eugene's the new chair.
Do we have somebody that'd like to be a vice chair?
Should we wait for Dave for that one?
Sounds like we could,
Wait.
can't we elect David as vice chair?
Please do that while he's gone.
He was my vice chair on Sampson, so he knows the route. I can't make a motion, so.
That's not fair.
It'll teach them not to be here.
Yeah, it would. Oh. No motion?
We cannot do that.
I think we have to get a vice chair. don't we?
We do, but.
We do.
I mean, even tonight do we need to, or we can table that? and-
We can-
You're
We
not
could probably
here.
table it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see any harm in that, but I just, in case something happens,
Right.
we gotta have some.
That's a good point.
Right, and that's a good point, because there's a very good chance I may not be able to make next meeting. They're already planning, for me to travel. Yeah, that's a very good
Well,
point.
who wants to ride shotgun?
Well, why don't we then see if somebody will volunteer to be an acting vice chair?
Oh, well played.
David Jazzy.
I'll volunteer. The acting vice chair.
Okay.
Someone make a motion.
I make,
Well,
a-
do we need a
we
motion
do
or
it in a
just
row?
do it by consensus? This isn't a vote, just do it by consensus. Everybody agree?
Yeah.
That's easy.
I love it.
All right, very good. So then the final agenda item is adoption of the minutes from last May 24th.
So move.
Second?
Second.
John,
Oh.
yeah.
Second.
Second.
Oh, Dave, that's right. Yeah, I did not catch it at all. Okay, Jackie Henny,
Yes.
Matt White,
Yes.
David Floyd,
Yes.
John Burgess.
Yes.
E.J. Matthews.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Very good. Then that is the agenda for tonight, so I will go ahead and adjourn. Thanks, everybody.
I wish I was allowed to make motions.
Green achievement targets.
Mm-hmm.
Are you tasked with doing this, or is it? Okay, so.
We're checking them off.